What is up guys, this is Alan from Fanboys and welcome to a PC build featuring the DarkFlash DLX21 in matte white with a front mesh. So just a note, this is not really a step-by-step how to build, but rather just a computer build with how I build my way. So anyway, let's get to it. So for our processor, I chose the Ryzen 7 3700X. But Alan, why would you choose the last gen processors? The new ones just came out. Well, here is a simple answer. Availability. There's really no stock on the time that I bought this, so yeah, there's your answer. But the Zen 2 architecture, it's still really solid if you ask me. So this processor right here, it has 8 core and 16 threads and up to 4.4 GHz. That doesn't sound bad, right? So it comes with its stock cooler, the Wraith Prism, but we're not going to use this in our build. This cooler is decent already if you guys have no budget for an aftermarket cooler. It will do the job nicely. It does come with a pre-applied thermal paste, it'll do the job, but I still recommend using an aftermarket thermal paste. And here it is, the processor itself. Nothing really much in here except for the Ryzen 7 logo sticker, so you can flex what's inside your PC. Neat. And for the graphics card, we will be using the RX 5700 XT from Asrock. This is the Phantom Gaming OC, a very solid card. And if you guys are still worried about the drivers, well, don't. The drivers are in a really good state now. Plus, AMD has that fine wine drivers on their side, so expect some performance gains on its lifetime. It comes with some documents, boring stuff. And here it is, the bad boy itself. I really like the look on this graphics card. I was actually looking for the Tai Chi model, also from Asrock, but it's also out of stock, so I just settled for this one. I mean, don't get me wrong, this model is still very good and capable, just like the Tai Chi model. I just wish it was on stock, so it will look good in this build, because I'm actually aiming for a whitish build, since the case is in matte white. I just thought it would look sick with all the colors matching. So it uses a 2 8-pins for its power, so a total of 16. Yes, I know math. The fan center is RGB and the fans doesn't spin if it's on idle, so that's a really neat feature. So let's just take it in, peel some plastics and take a look. And for our motherboard, I went with the Asrock B550 Steel Legend, a very capable board. I went with it not just because of its reliability, I also went for its very good looks as it matches some of the white on our build. It comes with some documents, and holy crap, the guide is really thick. It even comes with a set of stickers, so you know, more flexing. And here it is, the board itself. back, it has some decent ports too. So for our RAM and storages, I went with a budget PNY XLR8 white 3200 MHz 16GB RAM kit, because you know it matches our build and at the same time with decent performance. And for our boot drive and mass storage, nothing really special here, just an M.2 drive for our OS and a Seagate Barracuda for games and whatnot. And for our power supply, I went with the Seasonic since they're always reliable in my end. This one is the Focus GM 650. It has 650 watts. It is semi-modular and has a freaking 7-year warranty. And I think it's more than enough for our build here. It comes with documents and a thank you note, which really makes you think how they value their customers. Some Velcro and zip ties for cable management. And this thing here, I think this is some kind of cap for the 24 pin, but I'm not really sure. But hey, it's there. So here it is, the power supply itself. We get the beautiful Seasonic logo just above that 120mm fan. Now, it is rated gold for its efficiency, just to add to that. The ports here, which to power your fans and storage, and I think it has an additional PCIe cable. And just a note, please, whatever you guys do, don't cheap out on your power supply. Please, just don't. And for our fans, well, not you guys, I went with the ARGB fans from IDCooling. They're the snow edition, so it matches our build. Plus, they're relatively budget friendly and they blow really good. Or intake really good. So let's open it up and take a look. I'm pretty sure these are the screws that for mounting the fans and adapter wire for daisy chaining your RGB fans and the RGB controller. It does come with the normal screws and the long ones for the radiator, as you would expect, of course. And here it is, the fan itself. Man, it looks really clean with the white. I'm pretty sure the RGB will stand out with this one. And to cool our processor while giving it a good look, I went with the IDCooling 360mm radiator. It is the ZoomFlow Snow Edition, so it is the same with our fans. So let's open it up and take a look. It is also in beautiful matte white. The tube is braided, which is nice, and the pump itself is also RGB. It comes with the identical RGB fans that we recently unboxed, with its same accessories and screws. And these are the mounting bracket for the pump itself. Whether you're using the AMD or the Intel socket, they got you, fam. Now, if you have an additional luxury to spend, you could buy an extension cable to really match your build. In my case here, I got the all white. This one is from Fantex. So with all that's done, let's start with our build. I relatively use 2 or 3 tools when I build a computer. Well, of course, different sizes, ones and types, but you can always get away with 1 screwdriver. And never ever use the tweezers, please. Who the hell even suggested that? But before any of that, let's take a look at our case here. I went with the DarkFlash DLX21 Matte White with a front mesh for airflow. It has a hinge design for opening up your case. The only tempered glass here is the left side panel. And as I mentioned, the front is a mesh type, great for airflows. And at the top is our front I/O ports buttons, the power and reset buttons, and it also had a button for your LED. It has one USB 3.1. This one has actually surprised me about the case, especially for its price. One USB 2, one USB 3, and a headphone jack and a microphone jack. Now the connector of the USB 3.1 is a Gen 1, so if you guys have a Gen 2 connector in your motherboard, you're gonna need an adapter for this one. And finally, let's start our build. Starting with the motherboard. I think it's a common rule to start with the motherboard, so things won't go in the way when you're halfway with the build. So let's take out our processor here. And you really gotta be careful opening this thing up, since the pins are bendable unlike the Intel ones. So for me, when I install a Ryzen processor, I always look at the logo and position it facing down to the left. So as you expect, the logo should be facing to the left side. But just to be really sure, there is a small gold triangle indicator here that will align to the triangle indicator on the motherboard. So lift up the retention spring and put it down nice and gently, like if it's your own child, and give it a little wiggle just to make sure, and put the retention spring down to lock it in. Good job! You deserve a pat in the back for not destroying your $400 processor. Yay! And since we're using M.2 for our OS, let's just do that so it wouldn't be on our way when we install our graphics card. So if you have a motherboard like this, the heat spreader here would probably hard to take out without using a little bit of force, since underneath it has a really sticky thermal pad. Now shake it for some reason. I don't really know why I did that. Well, since I don't have a scissor, I'll just use this cutter here to open this thing up. Now your motherboard should have these really small screws that are in a small plastic bag if you're installing an M.2, but since we're using the heat spreader here to lock in the M.2 drive, we're not really going to need one here. And now let's install our M.2 drive. Now you need to align this thing here to the slot, otherwise we'll risk damaging your component, and we don't want that here. Now we just need to put the heat spreader back and we'll have our boot drive installed. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, don't forget to peel the plastic on the thermal pads underneath the heat spreader. And now for installing our RAM. Let's open it up. And here it is. Looks really good with the matte white finish. And just like the M.2 drive, you also need to be careful aligning the teeth here, or you would also risk damaging your component. So pull the tabs and install our RAM. In my case, I have to pull only one tab for the RAM, but in some motherboards, you need to pull the top and the bottom tab to lock the RAM in when you push it in. And when you're installing your RAM, don't be afraid to put a little force to it. You should hear 2 clicks for successfully installing your RAM. And you're done with your motherboard. Well, for now. And oh boy, look at that! It looks really clean. It's all coming together slowly. So next part is our case here. If I could just lift this thing here. Oh boy, it's heavy. You know what? Let's take a look at our connections here. These wires here will mostly go at the bottom of your motherboard. So, you know, it's a good idea to pre-route this at the bottom of your case now. let's close this thing for now. And let's install our radiator. I know, it's much better if I install it at the top, but I'm actually short of one fan, so we'll just have to install it at the front here. So, since it's in intake, the fans will be at the front, plus I think it's really good. And with the magic of editing, voila! It's now installed. And let's put back the front panel back in, and we're done with the radiator. And for me, my next step here is to install the motherboard. Now, you might need to install some motherboard standoffs. Well, in my case here, before installing your motherboard, the standoff should be included with a box inside your case. You might find it in the hard drive bay. Oh, and I almost forgot. Let's install our power supply first, and pre-route some of the wires so it will be easier to install the wires in the future. And here are your connections. The PCIe to power your graphics card. For the CPU power. And for that motherboard, a 24-pin one. And I'll just have to use the magic of editing. Everything is now pre-routed. I even put the extension cables. And next is our mass storage. Also be very careful not to drop this, since there are mechanical things moving around inside of this, unlike the M.2 or a 2.5 SSD. And now install it to the tray here for your hard drive. And be sure to screw it in so it won't move around. This way it will lessen the vibration. Oh, it's adjustable. Neat. And now put it back in. Oh god, it's really tight in here. We might need to push it in harder. Come on. Come on, go in there. There you go. And now plug the power for SATA and hide the messy cables back there. Oh, I forgot to plug the SATA to the motherboard connection here, so just go ahead and plug it in too. Now shoot it with your finger guns for good luck. And if you're using an extension cable, be sure to neatly arrange the cables with the included cable combs here. And now it's just really a matter of cable management. Look how frustrated my hands are in here. Here is a time lapse of me cable managing. And plugging the cables on the motherboard. And being confused how to plug in the USB-C front I/O because I have a Gen 2 connection here, and as I mentioned before, this one uses a Gen 1 connection. And now let's install the pump to the processor. Now, the best thermal application is in a X pattern according to the internet, but you could always just use the vertical line pattern. And some more time lapse. I actually installed a cooler here upside down. Don't make the same mistake Superman did. And now for our graphics card. I actually struggled here because of the included graphics card brace support or whatever you want to call it. It was really just confusing. So here it is, a time lapse of that. And for the last step, a time lapse of cable managing the fans. And we're done. That was really tedious. I really hate cable managing. And here it is, booting up for the first time. Well, that's it guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more future content like this one. And I'm Alan from Fanboys, signing out.